It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Hello and welcome on in to another edition of The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. That's why it's called The Cam Show, for any of those of you getting ideas. Zach Burke is behind the glass. He's keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts, as well as your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Of course, today we're talking about in the show Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the New England Patriots, and why he is building something special here. We talked all kinds of Drake May and Stephon Diggs. It's time to go to the man upstairs, or the one on the sideline anyway, in Mike Vrabel. We will have Sophie Weller of Patriots Wire to join. She actually just wrote a story yesterday about Mike Vrabel building something special here. So we're going to pick her brain about what has changed with this team, why it looks so good going forward. We're also going to hear from the Red Sox post-season presser, end-of-season presser, and what they are looking for in this offseason. It seems pretty obvious, but there are two big bats that we have to highlight that can change everything for this Red Sox team and make them legit World Series contenders next year. And we will hear from Cam Neely and whatever the new soundbite is this week, the piss and vinegar around this Bruins team as they open up their season tomorrow, why it still feels like this Bruins front office just has it completely backwards. All that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show. But of course, we start where we start. And that today is where we're starting, is in Foxborough with Mike Vrabel. Of course, there's all kinds of optimism around this Patriots team now after their big 23-20 upset victory over the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. And the talk was Drake May. The talk was Stephon Diggs' revenge game. And then it came to, actually, you know what? This is looking pretty good under Mike Vrabel. And people around the league are starting to take notice that this looks different under Mike Vrabel. Because through 5 games, the Patriots are 3-2. That's actually not really a passing grade, but barely a passing grade as we're looking at it here. It's a good start. But Mike Vrabel, on his report card, he deserves an A. Okay, because the attitude of this team, the physicality of this team, the game plans of this team, it's all there, and it's night and day from 2024 into 2025. It's almost like Mike Vrabel should have been the head coach last year. And I think most people in New England would have agreed with that. That it should have been Mike Vrabel, a guy with actual head coaching experience, rather than the inside linebackers coach in Gerard Mayo. But the past is the past, 2025, new leaf, and it looks like Mike Vrabel's team. I don't necessarily agree with some of the disciplinary stuff. I don't like that Ramondre Stevenson keeps getting carries after he keeps fumbling and hurting the team, but so far so good. It's working. After Ramondre has his billionth fumble of the last 20 games, he goes out and gets the only 2 touchdowns the Patriots get in the ball game. Could Travion Henderson have done that? Maybe, but Ramondre did it. Andy Borregales missed a couple of extra points in Miami a few weeks ago. I and everybody else saying, cut his ass, we're done. Game-winning 52-yard field goal. And this defense, man, this defense, night and day, held Josh Allen in check, picked him off, and forced a fumble out of him. They turned over the Bills 3 times in that game. And really, they held James Cook in check. Their star running back, 15 carries for 49 yards. It's barely over 3 yards a carry. And rallying to the football all night. Good physical defensive football, baby. We haven't had that in a couple of years here. And it shows by the fact that they are 4th in the NFL in rushing yards per game against. They're only giving up 85 yards on the ground per game. They gave up 131 per game last year. A 47-yard difference, man. That is something. And again, this is not against a bunch of scrubs. James Cook can run the ball. The Bills can score. They're the number 1 offense in the league going into this game. But what I really love is when you look back at this game on Sunday Night Football, the big difference. Who was shooting themselves in the foot with the penalties? For the first time in years, even the end of the Belichick-era, we can say it wasn't the Patriots. It was so bizarro to sit in there, especially in the first half, and see flag after flag and not being able to get your team off the field or putting yourself in a bad situation on offense. And it was all the other team. It wasn't the Patriots. I can't tell you how long it's been since we felt like that. And what's weird is the back half of the game, the fourth quarter, the Patriots actually basically gave up a touchdown because they had a couple of costly penalties on them, some stupid penalties. But for the most part, the team that was shooting themselves with the foot with the penalties were the Buffalo Bills, not you. And so, yeah, there is a lot of buzz around Mike Vrabel here. And all the things we heard about Mike Vrabel in the offseason seem to be coming to fruition so far. Right? We heard it with all these guys who used to play for him, and it was, oh my God, this guy is a tyrant throughout the week. He is not afraid to call on anybody, on any situation, and grill them and quiz them in front of all the whole team. And I was like, man, that sounds like Belichick. Hopefully we can get a little bit of that, just a little bit of Belichick with that from Mike Vrabel. And you heard Mike debate in our conversation yesterday. He says, Vrabel is high-fiving and hugging everybody after the games because he's basically saying, thank you for doing your job today and letting me kick your ass all week. That's my football coach, man. That's a football guy right there. Which does make me just more disappointed that he wasn't the Patriots coach last year. That's a real bummer to me. We're going to have Sophie Weller of the Patriots Wire coming on in a few minutes to talk about this. She has written about this recently, and she has been there from the press conference to training camp to seeing what he's like on the sidelines. We're going to talk to Sophie in just a few minutes about how much of a difference not just the Drake May leap or the Stephon Diggs arrival makes, but how big the Mike Vrabel arrival has been for this Patriots team. That's coming up in the next segment. But before we get there, the Red Sox had their end of season press conference yesterday, and they talked about all kinds of needs that they need to address in this offseason. I look back at that wild card series against the Yankees, and plenty of things went wrong, especially defensively. There's no doubt they need to improve that. But when I look back on this series, I just think of all the times where I'm like, man, this game is begging for a 3-run homer. And the Red Sox can't deliver that. Like, how many times did we say that? As bad as the defense was and giving away some runs, bottom line is they got shut out in the last game, and they only scored 6 runs through 3 games. There was a major problem in the middle of the order. Defenses weren't good for either team. Starting pitching was good for both teams. Where the Yankees had a difference was the middle of the order that the Red Sox did not, and quite frankly, right now, do not have. That is a huge part of this offseason. And I want to talk about starting pitchers on another day because that deserves its own segment. But when we heard from Craig Breslow yesterday, it was about the bats. He said, and I quote, "It would be fair to look at some of those other teams still in the playoffs and say that they hit the ball out of the ballpark a little bit more than we do. Scoring runs is kind of a zero-sum game, right? And it doesn't really matter how you score. But in the postseason, a lot of runs come via the home run because the pitching is so dominant. So I think that's a consideration." Yeah, it is. Anthony Volpe hit as many home runs in that series as the Red Sox did. In fact, you look at it, the proof is in the pudding. The top 3 home run hitting teams in the league and 6 of the top 10 home run hitting teams in the league are still in the playoffs. Shoot, man. The Blue Jays lead the postseason in home runs with 8. And they've only played 2 games. 2 games against the same team that you only hit 1 home run off of in 3 games. 3 of the 4 playoff teams that finished behind the Red Sox in home runs this year that actually made the playoffs are already out. Same round you were. And the Red Sox finished right in the middle of the pack, 15th overall in home runs. But as we all know, it's a little misleading. They were 23rd in baseball after the Rafael Devers trade. And they went down even further after the Roman Anthony injury. They didn't have anybody who could hit the ball out of the ballpark. And again, I look back at that series and I just think, man, go for a 3-run homer right here. That would really, really help. That wins teams postseason rounds. And the last time we saw a real dominant Red Sox team, in 2018, that's what they did. They were a well-rounded offense, but they hit with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and they hit home runs. I was at Game 5 of the 2018 ALCS when the Red Sox clinched the pennant on the road against the defending World Series champs in the Houston Astros. They had a Hall of Famer on the mound, one of the best pitchers of my lifetime on the mound, Justin Verlander. And the Red Sox won that game 4-1 because they hit 2 homers. JD Martinez hit a solo shot. Rafi Devers hit a little bloop shot into the Crawford boxes for a 3-run home run. That won them the game. In fact, Houston's only run of that game was a Marwin Gonzalez home run. That's postseason baseball, man. It's great to keep the line moving for sure. And the Red Sox are really good at that. And you need that for a well-rounded offense. But when push comes to shove and there's 2 outs and there's a Hall of Fame pitcher on the other side, like Cam Schlittler, who's apparently a Hall of Famer, that's when you need homers. And the Red Sox just had no answer for that at all. Not only did the Red Sox not have the pop this year, but what was the most frustrating part of their offense? Because to me, it was how they hit with runners in scoring position all year long. Only 2 playoff teams in all of baseball were worse than the Red Sox with runners in scoring position. Only 2. You think a home run could help? A nice guy who hits 40 home runs could help that campaign? I think it might. And there are options out there. Because it needs to be addressed now. You can't have an offense like this next year and expect to win a division, as we saw, win a playoff round, as we saw, let alone be the American League representative in the World Series, as we saw. Since 2017, only 1 World Series champion that had a real season, not counting 2020, did not have a 30 home run hitter. 1 team. in the last 8 years. And that was Howie Kendrick for the Nationals in 2019. And that was all kinds of crazy, funky team of destiny kind of shit. The Red Sox don't have that. Okay, that was a once in a generation kind of thing. And when you look at the Red Sox teams that have won the World Series in the 21st century that we've all seen, no Red Sox team this century has won a World Series without a 30 home run hitter. Not one. In fact, 3 of those 4 teams had a 40 home run hitter. 2 of those teams had 2 40 home run hitters. That's what they should be looking for. Like, you've got your top of the order bat in Roman Anthony. You have that. You have a good hitting catcher in Carlos Narvaez. You have 2 guys who would be tremendous as like 5 and 6 hitters, right? Alex Bregman and Trevor Story would be fantastic in those spots. You need a 3 and a 4 hitter. You need a guy who can launch the ball out of the ballpark. And in this offseason, there are 2 names that pop up. Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso. Pretty simple. Pete Alonso, you want to talk about 30 homers? He's got 30 home runs in every full season he's played. Every one of them. One of them had 50. I'm not counting the COVID one again because, again, the games. Every single full season he plays, he hits 30-plus homers. And then I hear, oh, no, if you get him, he'll want to play first base. And you got to move on from Tristan Casas. Oh, no. You mean to tell me I'm going to have to go through a Red Sox season without Tristan Casas? Wonder what that's like. Oh, no. You don't think Tristan Casas might be a nice sweetener for a Joe Ryan trade? Put him and Jarren Duran in that package? Oh, no. Bummer. I wanted Tristan Casas, and all I got was Joe Ryan. I need a paper bag. I'm unmoved by moving on from Tristan Casas. I think he can be a decent hitter in this league. I do. But what are we waiting for here, man? The guy doesn't stay healthy. It's too bad. It's not really his fault. Doesn't stay healthy. I don't think he's ever going to be a 30 home run hitter in this league, which is something we thought he might be able to become with his home run prowess in the minor leagues and in the Olympics, but he's not going to be that. Not going to be a 30 and 100 middle of the order guy. He would be a great piece to be hitting 6th as well. But I'm not risking the chance of not getting Pete Alonso for that. Pete Alonso's always played first base, and he's going to want first base money. So I don't want to pay first base money for a guy who's going to DH. So he's playing first base. And is he the best defensive first baseman in the world? No, he's not. No, he's not. But is he better than what Nate Lowe gave you this year towards the end? Former Gold Glover? Yeah, probably. Is he better than what Tristan Casas gave you all told? Yeah, he is. I don't mind. Like, if you're going to put a guy at any position on the field where he's not that great a defender, first base is it. Like, we were ready for Rafael Devers to play first base. We were ready for Christian Campbell to play first base. I'm okay with Pete Alonso playing there. Trust me. And if you look at the numbers, his numbers from this past year, he would be top 5 for the Red Sox in on-base percentage and WAR. He would lead the team in home runs, RBI, OPS, doubles, and would lead the team in total bases by more than 50. He is a cut above every other hitter you have in your lineup right now in terms of power. No one really comes close. And you look at Kyle Schwarber. I mean, what do I need to say about Kyle Schwarber? Led the league in homers and RBI. Not much to say there. 56 homers, 132 RBI, and played 162 games for the first time in his career as a 32-year-old. Yeah, man, he's getting paid. He is getting paid. I don't care if the Red Sox, I don't care if he ever puts on a glove again. For me, he's the number 1 guy on the market, especially for the Red Sox. And now you're talking about a situation where, you're talking about Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber coming in here, and neither one of them gives you enough defensively, but they give you better offense than damn near anybody in the league. and they're both out there at the same time, and you've got money to blow. No matter what they tell you, they have got money to blow. Not a great free agent market for starting pitchers. You're probably going to have to trade for one or two of those. And you've got the young prospects to trade for one or two of those. And because you have so many young prospects and young guys on the roster right now, you've got money available. Now, some of that is going to have to go to Bregman as well if you want to bring him back. So it's probably pretty tough to sign all three of those guys. But you need to add pop to the middle of this lineup. You just have to, man. There's no way around it. This Red Sox team, they were begging for the 3-run homer in that series at Yankee Stadium, and they couldn't get it. Like, you look at the guys who are leading this team in homers. Trevor Story, heck of a season. He shouldn't be your leading home run guy with 26 and 96. I'm sorry. That's not a team that could realistically compete to win the American League. Okay. Wilyer Abreu, good first half of the season, right? Home run wise, 22. He still strikes out. I mean, not as often as Trevor Story, but they both strike out all the time. Wilyer Abreu does not give you much in terms of the rest of his offense. He is a one total outcome kind of guy. Home run, that is it. That's it. He's Gold Glove right fielder, and you love that. But you look at him and Duran on those 2 cheap contracts, team controlled, and you're like, man, I don't think I'd mind. I don't think I would mind. But you got to figure this out, man. The Yankees overall were not that much better a team than you were. You know, overall, were they better defensively? No. Did they have a better starting rotation? Still no. Yeah, Fried, because of the way Schlittler pitched in that one game. Bullpen, no. Overall, moving the line, no. But they had home run hitters. Jazz Chisholm hit 30 homers. They have an Aaron Judge. You don't. Most teams don't have an Aaron Judge. Okay, all but one team doesn't have an Aaron Judge. But when you add a Schwarber or Pete Alonso, especially Pete Alonso with that big left field wall at Fenway, 310 to left, you can then potentially go pound for pound with the Yankees. And I'll let the bullpen ride. I'll let the starting pitching ride because I think the Red Sox are going to get a huge boost to their starting rotation this offseason because I know Garrett Cole will be coming back for the Yankees as well. I think they would match up so much better with a better guy in the 3 or the 4 spot. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live every weekday at high noon Eastern time, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well as your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It's all happening here on the Cam Show, fellas and ladies and gentlemen. It's all happening here on the Cam Show. We've now gone through the Red Sox offseason needs. It's time to look more at this Mike Vrabel renaissance, if you will, for the New England Patriots. We're going to have Sophie Weller of the Patriots Wire coming on in just a few minutes. But those of you watching along on YouTube and following along afterwards, I want to get your comments in the comment section below on what you think about this Patriots team, what they're building, what this Mike Vrabel difference is for the Patriots. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our friends over at FanDuel with an awesome promo code that you can use. Not FanDuel, DraftKings. That could have been really bad. Please, DraftKings, do not take me off the sponsorship for that. DraftKings, and they're going to give you a promo code for the best way to put down all of your bets this week. That is coming up on the Cam Show.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Back here on the Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. Appreciate you guys joining in live on YouTube as we are every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well as your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Certainly there is a new buzz in the air around New England. It's not just because the leaves are looking nice, but it's because the Patriots are looking nice. Biggest win in years on Sunday Night Football the other night, and we talked about Drake May and Stephon Diggs and what they mean to this team. But how about where it all starts? And that is with Mike Vrabel. So without any further ado, we bring Sophie Weller of the Patriots Wire onto the program. Sophie just wrote a great piece yesterday about Mike Vrabel and how this feels different. And I don't want to be like jumping overboard here, Sophie. It's one win. They're 3-2, and that's fantastic. But why does it feel like the vibes are different with Mike Vrabel at the wheel here? Oh, we might have you muted, Sophie. You might have your mic muted.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
Tuesday. It feels like a Monday. I'll go with that excuse.
I get that.
Too busy watching film review, as I said. That's why I was running late. So
That's it. We get you.
I guess it's a good excuse, you know. No, I think with Vrabel, you can tell the confidence that the team has in each other and in their coach. They know that when this guy comes in, whenever he says something, it's for them and it's to make sure. I mean, anytime Vrabel has made a post-game speech when they, post like the game balls or things like that, the first thing he said each and every time is, this is about you guys. This isn't about me. And I think that really resonates with the players. I think another point too was like over the summer when he was jumping in fights for the at training camp.
Bloodied Mike Vrabel.
You should have seen the way the players talked about him after those moments. I mean, this is a guy who's putting it all out on the line for his players, and they know that. They know that they're number one in their coach's eyes, and that he's going to do whatever he can. He doesn't care about himself. All he cares about is his players and his team. And that win was so symbolic of just what Mike Vrabel has built, because as much as, yes, it was a great game by Drake May, it was Stephon Diggs who's emerging as that wide receiver one. It was also a true team effort. And I think that's the culture Vrabel has built, is that we're not relying on one guy to win us games here and there. I mean, Ramondre fumbles and then goes in and scores the only 2 touchdowns of the night.
Yeah.
I think many people, everyone wanted him benched. I mean, the last one, he got booed when his name was announced as a starter. Yet Vrabel knows that, it's an issue, and he's not shying away from the fact that the fumbling is an issue. But he also knows, if we're going to win a game, we need Ramondre Stevenson, and he's not wrong. It's that faith in his players, the same way Andy misses the extra points, and then that same game nails a 50-yard field goal, and they win the game in Miami. Goes last night, on Sunday night, nails the field goal, they win the game. And so it's just that faith he has in his players. I can't speak highly enough about just what he's done in that building, because it's a real change.
It's funny you mentioned that. We've talked about that the last couple of days. A lot of us Patriots fans, sons and daughters of Belichick, so to speak, the last 25 years, we see that. We see Ramondre fumble again, and you're just like, cut him, just cut him. We're done. That's what Bill would have done. And instead, Mike Vrabel's kind of putting the arm around, and you start to hear these players after the game talking about how they love how tough he is during the week, but how much he can be with you because he's been in those spots. And I think to the last 5 or 6 years, I guess, when looking at new NFL coaching hires and the teams that succeed, it's a lot about the offensive guys, right? The offense, the Sean McVays, even the Andy Reids, is a bit more old school, but definitely offensive. And then I look at it and I'm like, well, yeah, but those guys, and, Ben Johnson in Chicago and Dan Campbell in Detroit, those guys are also real players, coaches. That's the other thing that we hear. So is it so much the offense, or is it the players coach? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like we're seeing that with Mike Vrabel, who probably is a bit more defensive minded because that's where he's coached and that's where he played. But it's more so that trust in the players, I think, that's unifying them.
Player-wise, yes, more defensive-minded, but I will tell you, this is a guy who, during training camp, what stuck out the most to all of us was, it almost was like he had, not a time machine, but he was just able to, bop from place to place to place. He was everywhere. He'd be with the, offensive line 1 minute, then he's with the safeties, then he's over with the wide receivers, and then he's with the defensive line. It was the craziest thing of just the way he would move around. And so that's another thing, is he knows everything that's going on. Even special teams, he works close. I have a feeling he worked very closely with Jeremy Springer to know what's going on there. And it's just, this is his team. Yeah. But also he has faith in his coaches. He has this perfect balance of just, he knows that Josh McDaniels, there's no one better. When that was the hiring, there was the fear that Drake has had 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years, because 2 at Carolina, 2 now with the Patriots. But bringing in Josh was the right call, because that is someone who has experience. Yes, you have the Tom Brady. You can look at that resume, but also don't forget Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl quarterback his first year in New England, and that was Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. And there was that video, I think it was from the Panthers win, of the 2 of them on the sidelines, and I think Drake or one of them was mic'd up, and Josh just kind of looks and is like, we got this. They just have this bond that's forming on the sidelines. Zach Kerr, that's a situation with the defense where your defensive coordinator is away for all of the spring, now is away, he's involved with the team, but he's serving it seems more of an advisor role. Yeah. Given everything that's happening. And yet Zach Kerr steps in. You would think Vrabel would be all over that. No, Zach Kerr's leading things. He has faith in these guys, and it's that culture. It's the same way he has faith in his players, even when they might mess up or when they have an issue. And that has now trickled down into the players, because when you heard Stephon Diggs speak about Ramondre Stevenson after the win against the Bills. He was like, I told Ramondre, like, okay, you fumbled. It's going to happen.
A lot of game left. Yeah.
A lot of game left. And he scored 2 touchdowns. It's just, there's no anger within like the team of these like mistakes. It's like, we've all made them, but we can all fix them.
And putting all of that together, how Vrabel's reacted, how the players have reacted, and the way that we've seen this team play through 5 games, what is the biggest, how has this team's identity changed the most from what was kind of a circus last year in the Gerard Mayo era to Mike Vrabel 5 games through this year?
I want to say confidence. That's the first word that comes to my mind. Is I just think everyone is confident in themselves and they're confident in each other. And I think that was somewhat, missing last year. Was like, obviously there's the confidence in Drake May because he was your 3rd overall pick and he showed that. But it's, the wide receiver room, there's a confidence there, I think a lot of people didn't know if the Stephon Diggs signing was the right call, given that, like, he's coming off an ACL injury. I thought that was a great signing from the start. I did. Because also, do you think they were getting like a Jamar Chase level player? Like, no, they're the Patriots. They're 4 wins, back-to-back seasons. Like, they need someone who's looking to prove themselves, and they found that with Stephon Diggs. And look what happens in the last 2 games. You have a guy who's proven himself, and, you have him now for 3 years. Good job.
Yeah.
So it's just that confidence that Vrabel is building, and also just, like, he's brought in players that already kind of have that. Like Milton Williams, very confident player. You can see in the way he plays. Yeah. And there's more to go. That's just the first one that popped in my head, but he's filled this locker room with a mix of younger guys with so much potential, but also some veterans that have a lot of confidence and a lot of leadership experience. And it's just like the perfect match.
And it's easy to talk about all of this now and see how positive it's been when they're 3-2 and just come off a big win. But you were also there at training camp, and there were still a ton of questions around. Diggs was in and out of practice. They were wondering about his health, and obviously had the situation back in May, Memorial Day weekend. Drake May did not look great during certain times of camp. The offensive line didn't look great, which it still is throughout the first 5 games of the season. So was this something you were seeing in camp as well, or is that something that's more developed through the games?
Yeah, I mean, with Drake, it's so hard to judge based off of like training camp or like practices and stuff, because he's someone who just like totally rises to the occasion in games. So like I wasn't, there was no like, you're watching these training camp practices and everyone's like, oh my God, looking at like the stats. And it's like, you have to remember though, he's going up against a defense who's kind of knows the ins and outs of everything. And they're doing a lot of the same things. Like in a game situation, Drake's a whole different animal. I mean, who gets pulled down to the ground and makes that throw to Stephon Diggs and gets a first down? Like there's not many quarterbacks in this league who could probably pull that off. And he did. Yeah. He did that.
We're on one hand. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Mike Vrabel's reaction, I asked him about that yesterday, and his reaction was hysterical. He was like, oh my God, we're going to, we're losing yards. And then it's like, oh, we got a first down. But it's, yeah, I'm like going on my tangents. I have to like, what was the question again? Remind me.
It was just, did you see any of the seeds of this through training camp?
Training camp. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by the Drake May throw and totally.
We all do. I get that.
No, I mean, yes, the offensive line was a bit of a question mark. And especially just because you had the 2 rookies on the left side, that's not done often in the National Football League. Normally you'd want a veteran next to them. No, Vrabel's like, these are our 2 guys. That's our best players. We're going to put them. And Will Campbell has, wow.
Kid can play.
That kid can play. And he's showing everyone like, whatever you thought of my arm length, like go away. Because that doesn't play a factor anymore.
Yeah.
So that was a question. I always thought this defense could be dominant from the moment I saw them at training camp. It's a different defense when you put Christian Gonzalez in, for sure, in that secondary. But him and Carlton Davis, you saw the flashes of just having that tandem duo. Or even actually, as he said yesterday, it's not just 2 of them, it's 3 of them. Because you got to put Marcus Jones in that group.
Yeah.
He's playing lights out on defense and on special teams. So it's just it's kind of like you knew you had this individual talent in all these different positions, but now 5 games into the season, you're seeing them playing as a team. I feel like that Miami win, the first game in that third game against the Steelers, it was more individual. You see the flashes, but we're not playing as a team yet. And then you come into the Panthers game, and this is a team. This is a team playing together. Bills, you're not beating the Bills if you're not playing like a team, and you played like one. I don't care. Yes, it wasn't the Bills' best game. You could say that, but the Patriots won that game. They came in and did plenty of good things to, beat Josh Allen and the Bills. And that shouldn't be taken away just because people are saying the Bills had a rough game. That happens. It's the National Football League.
And I think we'll look back on those 2 losses already and just look back in a couple of weeks and be like, man, how did those get away? And that's probably a good position to be in for a team that's won 8 games the last 2 years. I don't want to get too ahead of myself on this next one, but it's certainly going to sound like it. We have seen in the Robert Kraft era with the Patriots, we've seen him succeed with the hard asses, right? Parcells and Belichick. Fail with the nice guys, Pete Carroll and Gerard Mayo. Not saying that Mike Vrabel is going to take them to a Super Bowl just yet, but does this feel like just a good enough mixture of both?
Yeah, I mean, as I've been saying, it's the thing with Vrabel is that he is that like hard ass coach. He doesn't take crap from any of the players, anything. Like if you do something wrong, he's going to put you in your place. If you step out of line, be afraid. Yeah. At the same time, he sat in those chairs. He knows exactly what it feels like to be a player in this league and to have a hard ass coach because he played for Bill Belichick. So it's the perfect mixture because I think you need a little bit of a hard ass coach. That's this league. Yeah. You can't get away with everything that you do. You need someone who's going to discipline you. But at the same time, he disciplines you, but also has faith in you. Like you saw it, like Ramondre, he sat out, I think like the first 2 or 3 plays after the fumble and Antonio Gibson came in. Then he comes back in kind of, okay, I have faith in you. That was like your little, now go in and prove them all wrong. Yeah. He has that mixture of both that it clicks with this team because it's, they're afraid of him, but they also love him. Just like, I feel like that's like your parents. Like it's how
exactly. Yeah,
exactly. Like my mom, I'm like terrified of her, but also like she's my best friend. Like it's the perfect mix.
That's what it's like. Mike Vrabel is team mom. I think that's the way to put it. Patriots mom, Mike Vrabel. Anyway, Sophie, thanks so much for joining. But before we get you out of here, do want to give you a chance. You are churning out stories all day for Patriots Wire at AZ Sports. Just tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, it's you see my name right up there. It's Sophie Weller at Sophie Weller on Twitter, but it's 2 E's and 2 R's because 1 E and 1 R was taken.
Can't believe that.
I know someone took it from me, so we had to pivot, had to call an audible on that one. So yeah, I post all my stories there for Patriots stuff. I'm also there all during the week for practices and on game days. So
awesome. Well, Sophie, thank you so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it. And guys, definitely go check out how Mike Vrabel's building something special because we're starting to believe it. Sophie, thanks so much again.
Thank you so much.
There she goes. Sophie Weller, Patriots Wire, AZ Sports. Definitely check it out. Loved the story about Mike Vrabel. And like I said, she's turning it out all the time, man. So much Patriots content, more than you could shake a stick at, I think is what my grandfather used to say. Anyway, coming up here on the Cam Show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bruins. They had their preseason press conference, and man, they did it in the most Bruins way possible. And when asked about what this team needed, they said piss and vinegar. Why they have got their heads screwed on backwards. That's next on the Cam Show.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Polo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
You like, I'll tell you what I like. It's the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. And I guess you like it too if you're tuning in. I appreciate you guys coming on. We're live here every weekday, high noon Eastern time on YouTube. And then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Thanks again to Sophie Weller. Man, she is excited. And I'm excited about this Mike Vrabel era in New England. It certainly feels different in a very good way. You know, Gerard Mayo felt different than Bill Belichick, but not in a good way. 2022-23, Bill Belichick felt different from the other Bill Belichick, not in a great way. This feels like a good, positive direction. At first, we were just asking for an adult in the room, but what we're getting from Mike Vrabel is so much more than that. We are getting actual game plan strategy. And by the way, the biggest thing we're getting from Mike Vrabel, a tough football team. That's what they've said the last couple of years. We want to be tough. Gerard Mayo said it every week last year, and they couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't block anybody without committing a penalty. That's not tough. This team is tough. They're one of the best in the league against the run. They're actually pretty dang good if in the run. I tried to say in and with at the same time. We'll see what that's like without Antonio Gibson as that second back, but more for Travion Henderson, which is the only thing I've been kind of hesitant on with Mike Vrabel. I wish he'd play Henderson a little bit more, but they've got a tough football team for the first time in a couple of years here. Speaking of tough, that's what the Boston Bruins want to be. Bruins open their season tomorrow, and this is a weird season to predict for this Bruins team, right? I do not know exactly what they'll be going for. Piss and vinegar for sure, but vinegar does end with an AR at the end. Sorry. But the Bruins going into this season, there are so many question marks about this Bruins team. Obviously coming off their worst season in 20 years. Last year where they finished 15th in the Eastern Conference. And they go out there in free agency and they get Tanner Jeannot and Sean Corrali. Now, most Bruins fans were not under the impression that they could go out and get a big star, right? Offensive star. They could have spent right up to the cap and maybe brought in a Brock Besser, specifically looking at the deal that he got to stay in Vancouver. And that would have been nice. That's a 25-goal guy. I don't know how much better it makes you in the long term, but certainly that's something that you haven't been able to get on the wing the last couple of years. But instead, the Bruins tried for a different strategy. Here's what team president Cam Neely said they were going for in free agency.
We felt the bottom part of our lineup needed a little bit more piss and vinegar, if you will. So that was something we attacked first, and then the free agent class was what it was from an offensive standpoint. So when it was as limited as it was, maybe some from previous years, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to try to get a player that you may want. But I thought our guys did a really good job of putting a roster together that is going to give us that piss and vinegar, and it's going to be hard to play against, and teams aren't going to enjoy it.
When I looked at this team from last year that was 28th in the league in goals scored, you know what I said to myself? I said, that team needs more piss and vinegar. That's what they need. They finally got some prospects for the first time in a generation. But what they really need is to spend up to the cap to get more piss and vinegar. Man, that's got all the Bruins trademarks right there. Piss and vinegar, tough to play against. Teams aren't going to want to come into our building. Bullshit. Bullshit, man. Teams not afraid to play you when they know they can outscore you in their sleep. But I'm just talking to a brick wall when I say that, because plenty of Bruins fans are like, what are you talking about? Look how tough the Panthers are. Yeah, the Panthers are tough. They are tough. They've also got the best power forward in the league. They've got the best defensive center in the league. They've got one of the best goal scorers in the league, guy who goes for 50, and a Hall of Fame goaltender. They're not just getting into street fights. It's not the Broad Street Bullies, man. Even they had Bobby Clark. The Bruins are so far off from being the toughest team in the league and from being way far off from being one of the best teams in the league that we're just going in circles here. And so, you look at a season where you can finally integrate some young players in and give them some run and look towards, a potentially generational draft class next year. And you say, you know what? We can play Matthew Poitras. We can play Fraser Minton. We can play Fabian Lysell. And we can just figure out what we've got. Instead, the Bruins want to spend up to the cap for piss and vinegar. Well, which one's piss and which one's vinegar? Tanner Jeannot, piss or vinegar? Mikey Eyssimont, piss or vinegar? Sean Corrali, piss or vinegar? Because to me, they're actually all the same. That was 46 points you added to your team in those three guys instead of letting Matthew Poitras play, because he's starting the season in Providence. For what? What's he going to learn in Providence at this point? He's played 66 NHL games. He's not going to get any bigger in Providence. So why are we even doing this? Because again, Sean Corrali, because he used to play here, brings his 17 points to the fourth line, and that's just a roster spot that's not there for Matthew Poitras. Like, is he part of your future or not? Because Sean Corrali sure as shit is not. He's not part of your future. Okay? I get it. Oh, a little piss and vinegar. Man, that's exactly what this team needed. They'll lose 4-1, 5-0, but damned if they don't have piss and vinegar. Like, it's the same crap. It's the same crap from the front office. Like, we talk about how far they've fallen in the last 3 years and, the poor roster management, asset management, not being able to draft and develop players, and just constantly going after the wrong guys and not replacing the ones that you let go. And still, after all that, I get the president of the team saying, you know what we needed? We needed more piss and vinegar. I'm no hockey coach. But in my eyes, when I see a team that finished 15th in their own conference and was 28th in goals scored, the answer is pretty clear to me. You don't need piss and vinegar. You need goals. You need to put pucks in the net. You need to have a smaller gap than 49 points between your first and second leading scorers on the team. That's what you need. No. We need Mikey Eyssimont. We need Tanner Jeannot. We need Sean Corrali. We need Victor Arvidsson. Print it on the t-shirts. Piss and vinegar. That's the only department the Bruins are going to be good in this year, guaranteed. They might have a better goaltender. They might have a better defense, but damned if they're not going to have better piss and vinegar. Man, if the Bruins somehow make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, I will drink a cup full exclusively of piss and vinegar. Because that is not what's going to get you there. Like, I get it. This is Boston. You want a tough team. Cam Neely's running your team. Of course, he's going to want it to be tough, but that's not where the league is right now. The league is as skilled as it has ever been, and the Boston Bruins are sitting there in their boys club saying piss and vinegar. That's what we need. I want to hear the pitch meeting for that on like June 15th. Need piss and vinegar. Now hearing that, it's a miracle they didn't trade up to get Brady Martin. And I'm more convinced than ever that they would have picked him if he was available there at 7, regardless of whether James Higgins was available or not. Piss and vinegar. Give me a break, man. Give me a break with that. Anyway, you'll hear more of this talk on this network quite a bit because it's a brilliant time to tell you that we have launched a new podcast on the Rogue Media Sports Network. It is called Garden Level Podcast. It's specifically about the Bruins. We're taking all that Bruins talk you love, and while we'll still have some of it here on the show, it's all going to be on that show. It's myself and Dan Conlon, two of the biggest Bruins fans that you know, and we are talking to the fans. We are talking to the people around this organization. We're talking to the former players. We're talking only Bruins. Garden Level Podcast. It's dropping every week on YouTube, so go and find us there. Subscribe there after you subscribe to this channel, and you can find the videos and the segments going out every week. First episode drops tonight as the Bruins open their season tomorrow, so you don't want to miss that. And boy, is it going to be a fun season to complain about the Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, piss and vinegar Boston Bruins. We'll be doing it there. We'll be doing it here because this is your one-stop shop, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. Everything Boston sports is happening right here on The Cam Show. It happens live at high noon Eastern time every weekday and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Thank you to Zach Burke. Thank you for all of us that joined. Thank you to Sophie Weller as well. And we will see you tomorrow on the next episode of your favorite show, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, The Cam Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.